Hey everyone, this is Faze.
This is Colin.
This is Michael.
And welcome to the latest episode of Next Gear, where we talk about all things automotive and more. So guys, it is now episode, 3, 4? What episode number are we at?
I think this is 4.
Okay.
4 now. Yep.
Fantastic. 4. Okay. Michael, what are we going to be talking about today?
Today we're going to be comparing and just looking at Mercedes and Toyota's concept cars and prototypes that are coming out. They look really, really, really cool.
So just to clarify, I think when it comes to Toyota, we're going to be talking about their new brand that they're launching. Well, not launching, it's already been out, but I guess for the mainstream market, it's called Century. But we'll get to that in a second when we start talking about Toyota. But let's get started with Mercedes-Benz first. So Colin, what are we looking at here?
We're looking at the new Vision Iconic concept car, which in my opinion looks unbelievably nice. I was reading that it's just a concept. It's not really going to come out. They have no plans for actually launching this car, making it official, but it really just gives us an idea of what they're thinking for production, in the future, which is pretty exciting.
The inside is like, what's better than a Rolex?
It did kind of give me that watch vibe.
Yeah.
I was looking at it. It looks like something that's like supposed to be inside of a vessel or something.
Especially like the steering wheel, the way it is. It's almost like they're going back in that classic direction, right? Like when I look at this car, I'm seeing modern, obviously, right? But I'm also seeing like old school Mercedes-Benz luxury. And in fact, based on what I'm reading here, it looks like they did exactly that, because according to Mercedes-Benz themselves, they're saying that this design is actually inspired by their golden era, which was in the 1930s. So if you look at it, it actually looks like they incorporated elements from like the 300 SL and the 600 Pullman, right? So it looks really nice, but also elegantly classy. So, it looked like a Batmobile when I first saw it, to be very honest.
Yeah, it gave me Cruella de Vil vibes too. When
Yeah.
I first saw that car, I was like, what does this remind me of? It's definitely like that 101 Dalmatians kind of feel where the Cruella de Vil is getting out with the long cigarette, whatever they call those things. But it gave me that vibe 100%. And then I actually saw an article where they mentioned the same exact thing, which I was like, that is perfect.
So from the exterior, it looks really nice. And I think, like you guys said, from the inside, if you look at just the steering wheel alone, it looks like they're going back to like traditional old school luxury, right? Because we don't really see like those really big round steering wheels anymore.
Yeah, everything's super simplistic. I wanted to say they're getting rid of tech, but that's not the case at all. I was like, it's like very simplistic, but it's very like old school tech.
Yeah.
But I also saw that they have their clock in the middle.
Okay.
Like I don't know if it's the clock, but then below that they have the Mercedes-Benz logo, and that is supposed to be an AI feature where you can just like talk to the car basically, because it's going to be like a level 4 autonomous car, drives itself wherever it goes. But the feature that it just has AI built into it, so you can just talk to the car whenever you want. That's pretty cool.
One thing that's very interesting is you kind of pointed this out, but it's kind of like screen free. Like I'm not seeing any screens on this, which is interesting because if you look at all the concept cars, not just from, Mercedes, but even other manufacturers like Audi, for example, it's all about screens. Even the new GLC that they just announced, it's all screens. Their S-Class, all screens. And it's funny that they're kind of going backwards, not just in terms of like the look and feel, but even in terms of technology. They are using AI, but it's almost like they're going for hidden technology. So which is neat.
I like that too, and it's not like distracting. It's not like overwhelming when you get in the car. It's just very simple.
Yeah,
love that.
Going based off of just these images, it looks like they just want to be classy, minimal, and old school. So I'm getting good vibes from this for sure.
Did that car remind you of anything else, by the way? Because it reminds me, just like the sleek look of it, reminds me, like the wide body in the front, reminds me a lot of one of my favorite Mercedes-Benz cars.
Okay.
That's the AMG GT63 Coupe.
I see.
That's one of my favorite cars of all time. Yeah. And when I saw this, that's like one of the first things I thought about as well.
No, you're right.
Just resembles that look a lot, and it's just very sleek. The rounded back and the long front. I love that look.
I see it. I totally see it. But is this car going to be electric, or are they going to stick with gas with this one?
I read electric. Yeah, I read electric 100% on that. So I think that kind of.
Didn't we talk about the paint too? It's like solar energy.
Oh yeah. Like what's the name for it?
It was like photo.
The technical term, but I just read solar paint, which is like
solar paint.
When I first heard that, I'm like, how are you even making the paint solar? That's insane to me. But I read that adds over 7,500 miles of range each year on average, depending on conditions and weather conditions and all that. but 7,500 miles a year, which is
Wow.
pretty crazy.
That is pretty nice. And also they're using some neuromorphic computing. Do you guys know what that is?
I think it's marketing.
Those words are too big for me. Nope.
So,
I do.
so I just looked it up and it says like it's just basically advanced AI that mimics the human brain for greater speed and efficiency. Going back to what Colin was talking about, how this is going to be a level 4 autonomous car. So I think neuromorphic computing, I guess it's going to be like something that's going to make decisions based on how a human would make decisions, which is kind of cool because, lately we've been seeing like a lot of autonomous cars, like Waymo, for an example, where they're like just kind of stuck and they're not really making the right decisions, right?
Passing school buses and doing all the stuff that I would usually do.
Yeah. So
But
it looks like this will be a good one.
yeah, I think it'll be a good one. I'm more excited to see what actually comes out because this is just a concept car, but I want to see what's like realistically going to come from this. Like, what features can they realistically pull
Yeah,
and implement into the newer models?
definitely. But overall, I'm definitely liking the design direction, right? Rather than, I'm kind of tired of seeing cars just look like spaceships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like modern doesn't always mean an aliens coming out of it. Um, so I don't know. I like this. I think it looks really cool. I like the whole 1930s design mixed with some modern elements. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for Mercedes and specifically the Iconic, which I think will be iconic.
Yeah, I think it'll be iconic too. But I mean, they kind of base it off of the AMG Vision Gran Turismo from like 2013.
Yeah.
I think that just like them building off of that kind of makes it more exciting that it could be a reality one day.
Yeah.
But I just think that when they keep these models of these concept cars and they keep building on them, here we are 12 years later. And
Yeah.
They're still talking about a model just like that. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Phase, were you talking about this was kind of like a Batman car, or what was the Batman?
So with Batman, it's so basically where that news came from was that the CEO of Mercedes AMG was asked about the direction of their brand, right? And he said that it all has to pass the Batman test. And a lot of people were kind of confused by that. Like, what do you mean the Batman test, right? And basically what it means is that every car that they're going to produce, they're going to make sure it's edgy, tech oriented, and very modern. So basically they want it to look like if Batman is driving it, if you can see Batman driving it, we're producing it. So that's kind of where you went with that.
you just throw a Christian Bale in there and see if he would like it or not. And that's the Batman test,
Yeah, or I can sit in it. But no, I think that's pretty cool because I feel like so another thing that they brought up is that with the AMG cars, which actually don't sell as much as we think they do, right? It's kind of like for a niche audience, right? We've done this, we've talked about this in, I think, one of our first episodes where it's the C-Class and the GLC, the entry-level Mercedes vehicles that are actually the bulk of sales, right? But their goal is to have 200,000 vehicles sold per year.
200,000.
200,000. Yeah. So that's their goal. And I think they're trying to go more mainstream. And I think what they're trying to do is that, hey, let's just be edgy and more performance and tech oriented. And I think we will, garner a larger market share, right? So if that's what their, technique is, I think it could work. I mean, Batman also has mass appeal, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I like kind of the story and the marketing around that. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah. And he also, it's funny, the CEO went one step further and said, we're Batman, we're not Superman. Not here to be friendly and stuff like that. We're here to be like, we mean business.
Oh, I like that.
So
I like
yeah,
that.
so I like that. I like that a lot as well. Yeah. But going back to that, I think you can see some sort of Batman, inspiration even with this one as well, right? It's not an AMG because, like I said, when I first saw this Iconic, I thought it was literally like a Batmobile.
Yeah.
Anywho, do we want to jump over to Toyota?
Let's do it. All right. So with Toyota, they're not launching, but they're basically introducing an all new sub brand, right? So one of their sub brands is Lexus. The new one is going to be called Century. And Century, it's not necessarily new. It's been in other markets for quite some time, but it's always been reserved for the ultra elites. If you are in the market for like a Rolls-Royce or something, then you're in the market for a Century. But now, rather than just having niche markets, they want Century to be everywhere, right? In America, Canada, everywhere, right? So it's basically their ultra elite brand. And based on the concepts that I'm seeing and what their, direction for this brand is, it looks really nice. It looks like they're trying to compete with Bentley and Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, it does. And do you know where the name Century came from?
I do not.
So I saw this. I thought this was pretty funny. But they launched the Century in honor of 100 years of the founder of Toyota Industries being born. So a century ago. So I don't know how long they've been planning that, because if the car brand was called Century and it's been in these markets for a while, I think it was just Japan, by the way. I don't think it was in any other market, but it was just like for the elites in Japan. So I don't know how long they were planning that. Maybe they were like, hey, on the 100th year, we're going to start pushing these out everywhere.
At the end of the day, it's not just about that they're ultra premium. It's also about heritage, right? Like we talked about watches, right? And how that Mercedes looked like a watch. But when you look at a Bentley, when you look at a Rolls-Royce, it's like a Rolex or an AP, right? If Century was to come to the North American market, which is big on heritage and legacy, do you think it would be as successful as it is in Japan?
Probably not. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of other great competition here already. And I don't know. I mean, I think it looks cool, but I also don't know if it is going to be perform or look as cool as the other stuff that you're talking about. The Bentleys and Rolls-Royce and whatnot.
I think the new is exciting for everybody. And once it first gets here, you'll see a bunch of people drive them at first, but I think it's not going to have the same weight that, these other brands have. So I don't think they're going to, I could be completely wrong about that, but I don't see like a longevity standpoint for that brand over here. But I mean, you really got to wait and see what that car looks like when you're actually driving it, because it might change your mind completely, and it might set the new standard going forward of like, okay, you drive a Century instead of you drive a Bentley, or you drive a Rolls-Royce. Century could be the next Rolls-Royce.
And I also feel like, the way we look at consumer behavior, right? It is evolving, it is changing, right? I think like the older generation, they're not too much into technology, right? Even when you look at a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce, you're not getting like some high-end technical features. In fact, nobody buys a Rolls-Royce because it's got cool screens and this and that, right? Because it's made for a certain audience, right? But I feel like when you look at the newer generation, they might have a different taste or a different choice, or they might be open to trying something new, right? So I think we're at that point now where maybe it's a risk worth taking. And I'm kind of glad that Toyota is taking this risk, because if you look at, the current market right now, it's just Rolls-Royce and Bentley that I can think of that's like the ultra premium that no one can even touch, right? But if they can come and let's say their pricing is even better because they are Japanese, right? And their cars don't tend to be as expensive as like German automakers, right? So if they can really give good pricing in comparison to a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley and give you that design, the luxury, what people expect from an ultra elite premium car, maybe it can be a success.
I didn't realize this till now, but the doors actually slide like to the front of the car.
Yeah, Michael, I'm just going to tell you one thing right now. That's a concept. I feel like the actual version will not be like this is what I always get disappointed about. You see these cool concepts, right? Jaguar, if you remember, showed off these super cool concepts, and people were like, it's not, it's sure it looks cool on Instagram, but is it really going to be like that in real life? Because there's all these regulations it has to go through and stuff like that, right? So sliding doors would be nice, but I don't know if we're actually going to get that.
I know it would probably take a lot for you to go with a Toyota or a Century over a Rolls-Royce. You've been talking about Rolls-Royces to me for a long time now. What was your favorite one? It was like what was it, Cullinan or Phantom? What was your favorite?
The Cullinan.
The Cullinan?
Because it's an SUV. And interestingly enough, if you look at some of their concepts, they actually showed an SUV, which looks very similar to a Cullinan. It's almost like a Cullinan, but with the headlights of or the taillights of a Genesis. And speaking of Genesis, I think that's also a pretty good example, right? I remember a lot of people were kind of like, when Hyundai first made the announcement that, Genesis will be its own brand, it kind of already was in some markets, but in North America, it's going to be its own luxury brand, and it's going to go up against BMW, Audi, Mercedes. People laughed at it. They were like, no one's going to buy a Genesis, right? Now, once again, I feel like a lot of people who are in that market, they still are new to Genesis, but I still see those cars on the road, and they're nice. They are nice cars. So they're kind of making their own little audience, and it's working, right? So I don't know if I would say Genesis is a huge success, right? But it is. It's not a failure. There's a market for them. So,
and I'm blown away by the way those look on the interior and exterior.
For Genesis?
Yeah, Genesis. When I'm seeing someone drive on the road, I mean, they catch my eye, and I just can't believe that it's a Genesis.
And also for the price that you pay for a Genesis, you actually get more out of it than a BMW or a Benz or an Audi. So you get the best bang for your buck with that as well.
That's true, but it's not going to be held to the same standard or like the same status as all these other Bentley, for example.
Yeah.
You know, so even like if they come in here and they lower their prices and it's a better deal, it's like you're not getting that status that you want from that ultra luxury car.
Definitely, definitely. Now, a lot of people on the internet are also kind of divided, right? Because they're saying, all right, Toyota obviously is not known for luxury. And now they're coming out with a luxury brand called Century, right? Then what happens to Lexus? That's a big question mark, right? So with Lexus, the LS van is going to be one of the products that they're working on, right? The LS was, interestingly enough, it was always a luxury sedan. It was always known to be a luxury sedan. I think that's what LS even stands for. So what's interesting now is that it's going to be a van now, because I think Century will be the one that comes out with that true luxury sedan that kind of replaces it, right? And Toyota is saying that Lexus is going to be more their mainstream brand, right? It's still going to be premium, right? More premium than Toyota, right? But this is going to be the brand where they're going to be really trying new technologies and innovations, right? So that van, that's something that's very new, right?
Yeah.
If Lexus was the way it was, they would be playing it safe, right? No, that we don't need a van. But with this new direction that they're going with, Lexus will be that brand that's like, hey, we're premium, we're performance oriented, and we're willing to try new niche products like a van. So that's what Lexus is going to be about.
I think they'll probably have something else up their sleeves for Lexus than just a van.
Yeah. So I think they're also talking sports cars.
Got it.
They want to be, they're kind of going in the AMG direction, where it's like, hey, we're luxury, but we're like performance. The F lineup for Lexus could be its main thing. But at the end of the day, we also want to know your thoughts, right? What do you think about both the Mercedes-Benz Vision Iconic? Do you think it's going to be iconic? And also, what are your thoughts on Century? And so comment below and let us know. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and we'll catch you in the next one.